Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. The Cougars open the season at home at LaVell Edwards Stadium as they welcome in Portland State. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Woo!
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, you heard from Frank Dolce. Now let's go directly to Southern California. Joining us now, the man, the myth, the legend. It is Patrick Kinahan. PK, how are you?
You're telling me that I am speaking to the besties both at once? This is a great day.
PK, how was your trip, man? You safe? You all tucked in?
I am beautiful, man. I mean, I lived here many years ago now, but it always has a warm spot in my heart to be back. It's not my home, but it once was my home for about a decade, and to be looking out at the Pacific Ocean, which I'm doing right now, yeah, I'll take it.
Do you remember driving on freeway out there with one Scotty G and having Scotty G throw a really insensitive comment out there on those freeways?
Yeah, there are times that I wish I was on satellite radio, and this is one of them. Yeah, I mean, my wife gets a master's degree, and he freaking rips the institution in which she got the master's degree.
The crazy.
Like, you drive down to 405, and, it's a long freeway.
Yeah.
And there's like 20 colleges, universities, and he picks the very one that she went and got her master's degree from.
We're just driving. I'm just looking for, we're in the vehicle, we're driving, and, and I look over to my right, and I see this sign that says Cal State Dominguez Hill. And I'm like, what shoe clerk goes to Cal State Dominguez Hill? And he's like, my wife got her master's there. It's like, oh, whoops.
I didn't know that until PK and I were stuck on that freeway, and I was like, Dominguez Hill? He's like, well, that was a lot nicer than what Scotty said.
My goodness gracious. A Utah State guy making fun of Cal State Dominguez Hill. I've heard it all.
Yes, the bastion of academic success, Cal State Dominguez Hills.
Jeez. Hey, it helped her advance her pay on the pay scale.
Yes, well, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters, man.
For me. Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
I got a good return on my investment on that one.
Yes, you did. Hey, look, usually you come off a 5-7 season and everybody's like, okay, well, it's a rebuilding year. Let's see if they get back to a bowl game. But yeah, Kyle Whittingham's built such a monster that even now, coming off 5-7, they're still picked as one of the best teams in the Big 12. Where are you at on this team this year?
Yeah, I think that they deserve the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he has built such an outstanding program, so freaking consistent. I tell the story of Kenny Dillingham, my ASU Sun Devil, the first time he's in the Big 12. No, it's the last year of the Pac-12, and we're in Vegas. And their sports information guy is a guy that I've known for 30-plus years, and he brings me over. They have like a little lunch period, and I'm sitting there talking to Kyle along with some other media guys, and the SID brings over Kenny Dillingham for me to officially introduce him. And we're talking, and I tell him, who I am, Sun Devil graduate, blah, blah, blah. I've been covering Utah sports. So sitting we're both standing, so sitting below us at the table, literally if you stuck out your arm, you can touch the back of his head. And Dillingham says to me, and Dillingham at this time is 31 years old? He says, of all the coaches out there, this guy is the one I want to have a program like. And he's clearly talking about Kyle. So why? Because they're so consistent year after year. You know what you're getting. Last year had the injury, and they weren't prepared. I think this is in the world of transfer portal has hurt depth at quarterback because nobody wants to stay around, and you don't have to stay around. You can go lead. And we see some of these quarterbacks, like obviously the one that they're playing Saturday night. Boom, you're out of there. BYU goes to spring ball. Boom, he's out of there. So they didn't have any depth, and they got caught short. I like to say that Utah is going to have a good season this year, but I'm not going to call it a bounce back because in my mind they never really went away. I know they had the bad season record-wise, but thank goodness for the transfer portal, because Devon Dampier has just breathed new life into this program, and everyone is excited to see what he can do.
What are the chances they get that win against UCLA, PK?
Well, I have some contacts down here. I used to work down here, right? They're still around. I'm old, but not that old. I still got some friends who are alive and upright. And it's funny because we, the collective media, and I think you guys are of the same mindset, we expect Utah to have a good season because that's what Utah does. And we have an excitement with Devon Dampier to see what he can do, a level of anticipation. For UCLA, it seems like because of Nico Malavela, however you say it, is breathed excitement into this program. This is a program that has been down for so long. I mean, Bob Toledo, I think, was about 4 coaches ago, had some run. And Jim Moore had a little bit of run, but he couldn't sustain it. And it's been down. And because of this kid coming in and some transfers that they got, they believe that if they beat Utah, they can start 4-0, because I think they've got I don't remember who it is off the top of my head. I think they got UNLV next week. They obviously struggled to beat Idaho State. And then they got somebody else that they think they can beat the third week.
UNLV, New Mexico, Northwestern.
Yeah, right, New Mexico. And then their first conference game is at Northwestern, which has gone through a bunch of issues themselves. So they really believe if they can get this game, they can get 4 of the 6 in terms of bowl eligibility over in the minimum requirement of games. 5th game is at Penn State, which is currently ranked 2nd, so that might be a little harder. So somebody is going to be extremely disappointed Saturday night. I think it's going to be the home team, but we shall see. They feel like they've got – and they did get a little momentum as the season progressed last year. So we'll see if it carries over. In my mind, Utah is still better.
Well, you know how all of us in the media are. Well, maybe not you, but some of us are. Where we put so much importance on every single game, but it kind of feels like, considering what Utah went through last year and all the pub going into this season and the revamped offense and Devon Dampier and Jason, like you throw all of this on, and if Utah lays an egg in the Rose Bowl and loses that game, it feels like everything gets deflated. Am I making too much out of this game?
Well, I mean, it's what we do, right? The instant gratification, instant disappointment, instant analysis probably is the better way to say it. We do go crazy on this because they're not playing a Portland State or a lower division team, right? They're playing what is now a Big Ten team, that is picked way down at the bottom of this conference, right? And you're thinking, wow, Utah always beat these guys when they went in the Rose Bowl. I think they lost the last time. They won 6 in a row, DJ said. And then the last time they had ETR was their quarterback, and Utah had a couple of turnovers. They didn't get out of the Rose Bowl with a win. But other than that, they pretty well handled those guys just about every time they played. And to think that they don't do it now, like, well, wait a second here. We just spent the entire offseason, because Jason Beck and Dampier, they've been in the program, not literally, but they committed to the program since December, right? So we've got 9 months, and they're talking it up. Great offensive line. Dampier, big-time electric. Defense is defense. They need to replace Tonavasa up front, but the linebacking core is looking good. Smith-Soden in the defensive backfield looking good, and the other guys that they got. So if they don't get out of there with the win, you can argue, wow, man, a little bit of the win has got out on the sale. It won't be a devastating season because, as you recall, a few years back, they lost the first game to Florida and had a good season. But under the circumstances, we're expecting them to look good offensively. And, of course, they're always supposed to be good defensively. So I count on the defense being okay. If they don't look good offensively, well, the mindset might be, wow, we were sold a false bill of goods here. I don't think that'll happen, but I can see where people will think that if it does happen.
So what do you know about Andy Ludwig's exit, and how much did it have to do with not having a quarterback ready in back-to-back years behind Cam? And with that, is Coach Beck set up for success if there's any issues with the quarterback and he has to go to the cupboard?
Well, Utah fans, they are on edge on this because that Cam Rising was not just 1, but it was 2 years, right? Now, Bryson Barnes, if he would have stayed, probably as the quarterback, probably going into his third year as the starter when you think about it.
Yeah.
Maybe not last year. He wouldn't have gone in as the starter, but he would have gotten the job, clearly. And talking to Bronco's just over the moon that they've got that kid up and moving. And we wish him all the success in the world, obviously. But, yeah, it was an unfortunate situation. And I think Ludwig just read the tea leaves. And, let's just get out of here. He has some financial – I don't want to say no money worries because I don't know that anybody has that. Maybe a few people, that we know. But
David James.
Yeah, nice. There's stuff I could say, like on The Sopranos. His sister Janice. There's things that I can say right now that I'm not going to say.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Growing up in an Italian family, I heard that probably 5 times a week. So every time when I watch that show, and there's things I can say that I'm not going to say, I just laugh, and it takes me back to my childhood. But yeah, they couldn't get anybody in last year that had any level of experience, because Rising was there. And these transfer quarterbacks, you're either going to get somebody who's really young and hasn't proven, say like a Sam Levitt, right, who goes to Michigan State, plays his 4 games, gets to retain the year, and then chooses to go to Tempe, totally unproven. You could get those types of guys, or it's somebody who is looking for pretty much a guaranteed spot to land where he's going to play, right? And you don't get that opportunity to build depth that often. And it was just an unfortunate situation. Beck comes in. The offense was explosive for New Mexico. I wonder, though, how much of that, if you look at New Mexico's defense, they were awful. And I wonder how much of the defensive strategy of New Mexico's opponents were, hey, let's just not give up the quick touchdown. Let's not get beat over the top. Dampier can run around all he wants, but let's not go crazy to allow them to score so quickly because our offense is going to score. So it's not like they were, what would be the phrase, bogus yardage, but I wonder if it was if some of the stats were inflated because don't get beat, don't allow the big play, and so they're able to chew up some yardage that makes his stats in terms of rushing and passing look maybe better than they are. Now, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that might be a theory. And the great thing about it is we've got 11 opportunities to see it. I'm not talking about Cal Poly next week. But, even going to Laramie and then obviously the conference schedule, we'll get to see just how true last year was, just how creative Jason Beck is. I think they're going to be fine, but I'm walking into a theater. I'm walking into Mission Impossible. I know Tom Cruise is going to be jumping off buildings and having exciting motorcycle chases. I don't know exactly what they're going to look like, but I sort of know what to expect.
Who has the best linebacking core in the state, BYU or Utah?
Wow, that's a great, great question because, man, I am in love with Isaiah Glasker.
Yeah.
And this kid is a freak. We had on Kelly Papinga this morning, and I didn't want to – and Kelly, first time around when he coached at BYU, he was the linebackers coach, right? So he can roll out first-hand knowledge with Van Noy and with who else? Fred Warner, obviously, is the other name, right?
Yeah.
So I sort of got a little bit beaten around the bush when I talk about Jack Kelly and Glasker because I said, Kelly, linebackers. And then he just went right there. Yeah. Glasker's a freak of nature, as fast as anybody, and he's 6'5", 240. That screams NFL star. And Jack Kelly, you got Jay Hill, who obviously knows a trillion times more than I do, saying, hey, if we were to rush Kelly more, he can get to at least 10 sacks. And I love the linebacker core for Utah. That's a strength of their team. Lander Barton, I've told this story many times. Hans has heard it. My wife had him in the 6th grade, and she came to me and said, this kid is an incredible athlete. And we're going to see it. He's talking about playing a little bit of tight end. I know he could do it. I saw him play many games in high school, and he can catch and run. And DeMooney's a track record. Hall is on the come. Plus, you talk to Colton Swan. They got a couple other guys that they've been developing. I think I might go a little bit more depth-wise with Utah, but if I go star power, combined Glasker and Kelly, I think that's where I'm going, yeah.
Well, you're the best. Enjoy your time down there. Looking forward to catching up with you before the game, too.
Absolutely, man. I'm fired up. I'm fired up for the Aggies, too, to see what they can do because Bronco Mendenhall, he knows how to rebuild programs.
He's a fixer.
Yep.
It's just, never mind. I got a story I'll tell you off the air.
Should we call him Bronco the Fixer?
Bronco the Fixer. Yeah. I like that.
Okay, guys.
All right, see you. Patrick Kinahan right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, getting a jump start on things there in Southern California.
The linebacker conversation is a tough one.
Yeah.
Because Lander and Jono and Lavani are so good. I would say that BYU has the edge as far as talent.
Yeah.
He took Utah in depth. Did he say he took Utah in depth?
Yeah. Utah in depth, slightly. But I did at first, too. And then when you dig a little bit more into BYU,
I think BYU might have
BYU
depth.
might have him, too. We've had this conversation a month or so ago, and that's exactly what I said. I went BYU on star power, Utah in depth. And then you start to look at that depth that BYU has, like, that's sneaky good, too.
So right now they can't figure out who their starting middle linebacker is going to be between Siale Acera and Che Brian Strother.
Yeah, because, man, Shea's getting a lot of headlines right now.
And you liked Alford.
Yep, and I liked Alford. If he's healthy, Alford's more than capable of being a starting linebacker in the Big 12.
BYU doesn't have John Hall, but they've got Miles Hall.
Yeah.
Miles is really good. What's great is that we're having this conversation.
I know.
Because this is the best collection of linebackers we've had at one time in the state.
Who's the better Hall?
Jono. Yeah. Jono's, he's going to be ridiculous. There's a good chance he leads the team. Because Lander and Lavani could funnel.
Yeah.
And Jono could clean, but Jono might clean too, or he might funnel too. Maybe Lavani's the cleaner.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. The Cougars open the season at home at LaVell Edwards Stadium as they welcome in Portland State. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, Hans, it's your Ute Preview Show as Utah takes on UCLA coming up on Saturday. It'll be a late one. We'll have college football Saturday beginning Saturday morning at 10 a.m., and then your post-game show on KSLSports.com, on Twitter, and on YouTube immediately following the game. Is that Christian and Alex both hanging out on that one?
And Alex Napolis, yes.
Nice. I talked to Christian earlier today. I'm like, I'm glad that you feel like you've graduated off of the Utah State broadcast. That kicked me to the curb.
He'll be back when they're in the Pac-12.
Yeah, just said, nope, sayonara, I'm out.
He'll come back begging.
He'll come back begging.
Yeah. What are if I were to ask you your biggest question mark with Utah going into this season, what would it be?
Biggest question mark on Utah overall. Can you get production out of these receivers?
Yeah. That's it. Man, that's where I was going to go as wide receiver.
I think maybe production out of, just receiving targets. I'm hoping that they use Down Bentley, but I don't know. Does Jason Beck kind of reincorporate the tight end position? Does Freddie Whittingham say, hey, look, here at the University of Utah, we throw the tight ends.
We got it clicking, so let's not go away from that. My worry would be receiving targets, but then, we keep hearing the rumors that Smith Snowden's worked over to the offensive side of the ball. And I know that if they start working Smith in slot movement and letting him kind of roam on drags, and
different hots. He could be a very wide open, very usable target. I would say that. The other thing, I want to see if Devon Dampier can play the game when it's not hectic.
Yes. When it's not backyard football.
When it's just not backyard football, because I did all these film reviews this morning of Devon Dampier, and you just never. Now, it was film reviews of the Auburn game, but he never got to relax. He never got to just throw something in system. I'm a volleyball dad and headed out to another volleyball game. By the way, go Sky Ridge. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, we'll give the Sky Ridge Falcons at 30.
The Sky Ridge
Preview Show.
The Sky Ridge at 43 update.
Hey, I had a kid come into the round table yesterday, and he's part of the Sky Ridge lacrosse team.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, can our Sky Ridge lacrosse, can we get a shout out? So here's a shout out to
Sky Ridge lacrosse. Let's go.
Sky Ridge lacrosse and the team.
Get that care package.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Care
remember,
package.
we're willing. The boxes are starting to come in a little bit, right?
Yeah,
We got the Lehigh one.
Yeah.
I think we
Some
got
shirts. Maybe a team photo would be cool too.
It'd be
team photo.
Yeah, it'd be nice to actually get some of that. I think Lloyd stole my shirt.
We got a North Sam Pete box that was awesome.
Yeah.
So appreciate that.
I think we got a bountiful one coming here pretty soon too.
Good. It'd be great to open up that one. But I want to see if Devon Dampier can play in a smooth offense that just clicks. And I also want to see, okay, can I just put him in a 3-step with protection and throw? Because you didn't do that with New Mexico. The pocket is always moving. It was either nakeds or bootlegs. And the pocket's always moving. And people wondering what the difference is. Bootlegs are off a misdirection where you typically pull 2 off offensive linemen to the outside that set a pocket and block to the outside where a quarterback can run into that protection. The naked is a full misdirection where the quarterback rolls out without any blocking to the other side, and typically it's an unblocked defensive end that goes one-on-one with the quarterback.
Yeah.
So they did that a lot in New Mexico. And even against Auburn was having a tough time getting to him in those naked looks and in those bootleg looks, and he was launching in those looks. He had one that was 47 yards through the air, put on the dime on a back shoulder that was beautiful. By the way, you can go take a look at those video reviews at 975 Hands. I've got 5 or 6 of them up. So I want to know, man, like, when things are calm and you can just run the system, can you function? Can you deliver the ball on time? Or do you have to feel like everything's a frenzy and I got to do everything with my own feet and I got to make everything happen with my own time? Does that make sense, or am I sounding stupid?
No, it makes total sense. I know exactly. I mean, because some guys, he's so used to playing chaotic football. What happens when he's got time to throw? What happens when he can go through a progression?
Yeah, because then Coach Beck or any coach can come back to him and say, you weren't under pressure. Why'd you leave the pocket?
Exactly.
Why did you leave?
Because the first guy was covered. That's what I always do.
Okay, but so step back in and use the pocket. Well, yeah, but I feel better out here. Okay, well, then we'll move some pockets, but we need you to step in. And what you didn't realize was the nickel was walked up. As soon as you see that nickel walked up, why didn't you see that?
Be patient.
Be patient.
Don't just run.
I want to know, okay, does he see things? Or does he tuck and run and just say, I'll go do it on my own?
Yeah.
Because you can't. In the Big 12, you can't. Defenses will scheme against you, and you won't be able to do it against the Big 12 defensive schemes.
Eat you up.
So manage it, believe in your pocket, and if you do move the pockets, believe in those pockets. I did see him, there were 2 interceptions thrown against Auburn. I actually did film review on both. One, it was pressure at about a 0.25 count. So not even a count and a half, 0.25. And it was ridiculous because they kept 6 in to block. It was a 4-man pressure. The right guard completely whiffed on the linebacker that was bringing heat and completely whiffed. And it was instant pressure. So Dampier is moving around, and he actually sees a dump down late, and he throws it to the dump down. The dump down couldn't secure it, and the safety actually pulls it out of the guy's hand. The second one was a defensive pick play where the defender knocked the receiver out of his route, hit him in the leg, and it delayed the slant. Dampier threw the slant, but because the slant was delayed off of the defensive pick, it went right into the safety's hands. So, I can excuse away picks and with pressures and receivers knocked off routes, but I think people can go look at the film review I did. They can make up their own decision. I want to see him play relaxed, and I want to see receivers be open. Those would be the two things that I've got interest in. I really don't have a lot of defensive questions.
No, I don't either. I think they'll be fine defensively. All right, we'll wrap up this bad boy next. Get you ready for JJ and Alex straight ahead, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
It's a trip to the Rose Bowl for the Utes as they open the season this Saturday at UCLA. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, Hans and I want to go to work for you. Let's do it, folks. All you have to do is text the keyword HANS to 57500. That's HANS to 57500. If you've got a business or service you want Hans and I to love up for you, well, we got your back. We're here to help you.
We'll help you out.
57500. Text the keyword HANS, H-A-N-S.
All right, so listen to the Lewis Powell makes me think, okay, that defensive line, let's find the bookend. And I think it's going to be one of 3 guys. And I think you're going to see a pretty heavy rotation of these 3 guys opposite of Logan Fano. And I think you might see John Henry Daly first.
Okay.
And then Cash Dillon. And then Lance Holtzclaw. He's the Washington transfer. Now, I think Paul Fitzgerald is going to find some work and some reps, but I think that they're trying to find the bookend. They're trying to find the mainstay. They're trying to find the guy that's going to be the next Van Fillinger.
Yeah.
They're trying to find the dude. And I think that they might take a good look at John Henry Daly just to see, okay, this guy was a freak in high school. He's now had some time to get his feet back under him. He's a BYU transfer. So it would be a really nice feather in the cap to have this BYU transfer, homegrown kid that's come into Morgan Scalley's offense under the tutelage of Lewis Powell that just blows up the world. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see John Henry Daly, and I'd love to see Cash Dillon, another local kid.
It's your Ute Preview Show right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It'll be a Football Friday coming up tomorrow with Alema Harrington and Ron McBride. Back with you tomorrow right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.